Our learning journey, well, it's been a really, really long journey, and I suppose it's because I've been here for such a long time. So I'm in my 23rd year of headship in the same school, and I guess it'd be fair to say that we evolved. It took a long, long time. So when I first came to the school, people worked very much on their own, they did their own thing. The focus was very much on what the teachers were doing rather than what the children were learning. And I wanted to get that shift away from the teachers and onto the children, and that took quite a long time. And there was a lot of observing, a lot of talking, a lot of listening, a lot of modelling, a lot of coaching. And I worked with one or two teachers and got them rethinking about their planning so that the planning would not lead the learning, but the learning could lead the planning. And it worked with these two teachers that I sort of was working with and coaching, and they of course then started talking to the rest of the staff, and the rest of the staff was saying, oh, how have you managed to do that, and why did you do it in this way? And that started actually creating a sort of a dialogue, sort of the informal conversations about learning, which weren't happening through planned, structured CPD programs, and they were the most powerful. So these two teachers actually became my trainers, if you like, without them realising this is what they were doing. And through that modelling and that dialogue process, other teachers started following suit. And then I sort of believe that I should always be looking outwards, not inwards. And one of my jobs as a head teacher is to be scanning the environment and see what's going on, and reading and learning for myself. So I had to model it for my staff, because if I really wanted my staff to focus on children's learning, they needed to be learners too. One of the things that I've always tried to do is to try and get my staff to be the learners, by me modelling it for them, by them actually experiencing it and then seeing what it would be for their children. By creating those opportunities to have those conversations, those informal conversations which are so powerful, and then actually stepping back. That's quite risky. If you're a control freak, you know, as a head, and I need to know exactly what's going on, I found that bit quite difficult. But it was about letting go and trusting my staff. And what I've noticed is that the children's learning shot up. This is the entire school development plan. We've got 6 strategic areas for development for 4 years. On one side, we've got the monitoring. How will we know that the plan is working? And on the other side is CPD, and what support will staff need. What's unique about this plan for me is that it's involved every single stakeholder in this school community. So we involve the parents, the governors, the staff, and the children. This plan was written for the lower school, and we do not have a school council. I personally think the school councils are very, very exclusive, and I wanted to involve all the children. So all the children were consulted on what they would like. We had 6 or 7 children who applied for a job to be a leader of the school plan, and they devised questionnaires and went and interviewed all the children and came up with some ideas. What was really interesting for me as a head teacher was that everyone in the community was saying similar things. So, for example, strategic intent 1 was to make our learning even better. So everyone had a focus on learning. This was a really interesting one, and this one came predominantly from the children. Strategic intent 2 was help us to get good jobs. And children as young as 6, 7 are aware of the job market. Now, I think that's pretty powerful stuff. Some parents thought that was very, very sad that children were thinking about jobs. But of course, we instill that in children. We talk to them about the importance of good attendance and punctuality and why they need to have basic skills, and that's to help them in the job market. And so from my point of view, that was great. There was something about learning how to make the environment better, which is about sustainability and recycling and using the environment. Learning beyond the school, which was learning outside the classroom. And there was a real focus on school trips, visits, using the school grounds and so on. And then growing new leaders. That actually came, would you believe, from the parents and the children, not from the staff. And it was the children who said, but when so-and-so leaves, who will do their job? And they specifically said, when I leave, who will be the new head teacher? So that's how the growing leaders came in. And then the last one, which was driven by the governors, was taking care of myself and others. So once we'd got these big strategic ideas, we then worked out in slightly greater detail what it is that we wanted to do. Not for 4 years, but only for 1 year. And we had to cost it, because that's what audit and governors like. And then at the end of the year, the children evaluate those 6 strategic intents to see what difference it has made on their learning. Not, not that did the plan work, but what difference has it made to my learning and how do I know? They then write a report which goes to every single parent and governor and teacher in the school. And we use that report plus the staff's review of the year to tweak those intents for the following year.